You know what's funny about Florence? My sister, the one that lives in Pittsburgh, she went there to study abroad. I remember hearing my mom talk to her on the phone. Sabrina called her crying, not because she was homesick, because she had to come home. She was like, "Mom,
Bro,
I don't want to come home."
bro,
That was her
listen.
favorite city, like on earth.
Being in Italy, we were over there for 2 weeks. In all seriousness, like fuck, I'd live there. That they got it going on over there. Like the culture, the cities, man. Like yeah, I mean, and I think that that's like probably like a really really American mindset to have. You know what I mean? Like, oh, like Italy, it's so beautiful, it's so good. But seriously, like, we spent 2 weeks there, and when we came home, it was like, shit, I don't know. Like, I could probably move over here and not really
Yeah,
be worried
yeah.
about it. You know what I mean? Like, seriously,
I feel like Dublin was the closest for me.
yeah.
Wait, was that the city you were stuck in that your friend dished? Please wait, ladies and gentlemen, you're in for a treat. This story is ridiculous in the best way.
All right, listen. This is like slightly unbelievable. So when I say it, I understand like how outlandish it really does sound. But when I tell you this is like the honest to God truth, this is really the honest to God truth. So when I went to Florence for 2 weeks, I had a friend, a really good friend of mine, when he was applying to colleges, applied solely to colleges in Italy. So he lived in Italy for 4 years, going to school for design in Florence for 4 years. He lived there.
Did he change his name to Mario?
No, he did not.
Did he
But
become adept at making meatballs?
no, but he knew how to rock a really nice leather jacket by the time it was over. So like it was cool. Like he was like dressing real sharp after all was said and done. But
Did he learn how to drive stick in a Fiat?
actually, I'm not really sure. I could ask him. I'll call him later and ask. Well, we'll come back to that in the next podcast. But
Okay, so wait, what city are you in right now?
we're in Florence.
Florence.
So he lived in Florence for 4 years, going to school for design. And then I had another friend, and these two, so we all met like at youth group at church. And I had another friend who went to Kent State, and he was studying abroad in Florence for architecture. So they were both over there at the same time.
Right.
And I was going to go for 2 weeks. And the brother of the friend who went to Kent State, who was studying abroad, he was going to go as well. So we flew out together. And I got like really sick on the plane ride there. So I was
man.
like, so we get to Pittsburgh International Airport, and we had a layover in France. And it was like the first flight from Pittsburgh to France out of the Pittsburgh International Airport. And they had like cheese and shit like in the
Serving caviar and
yeah, they
frog
had
legs.
a cheese tray in the what's that called? At the gate, So
Did
we
they
like
stick little white flags in them?
no, they didn't. So
Sorry, everyone that's French.
I ate a fuck ton of this cheese before we got on the plane, and then we landed in Paris. And when I tell you, I literally threw up like between every
On the
20
plane?
and every 30 minutes. No, like at the
Oh,
airport
at the
in
airport
Paris.
in the layover.
Like about every 20 minutes, I was like running to the bathroom to like throw up. This is really nasty, but at one point it was just like stomach bile, like it was just stomach fluid because it
Oh,
was like I
yeah.
wasn't eating anything.
Yep.
So we land in Florence. I'm like real disoriented, and we get to the Airbnb that he's staying at. Woke up the next morning, I felt fine. It was like a fluke. It was really weird, really weird.
That happens a lot actually.
Really
when I'm
weird.
sick and I have to get on a plane, wake up
Yeah.
in another place, you're fine the next
I was
morning.
also really hungover the day I got on the plane. So
Right,
I was like
right.
massively hungover, and I was eating like cheese and shit on my way to the airport in France. So like a terrible combination. So anyway, that's like a funny story about like getting there. So we get there, right? And like this is seriously like I'm not even making this up. This is not embellished. This is really like exactly how this happened. So I was supposed to stay with my friend who had been living there for 4 years. And the guy that I traveled with got an Airbnb with his brother, and they were going to stay at this Airbnb for the 2 weeks. Now, when we got there, the first week of our stay in Florence, the two guys that were going to school there had to do finals. So they were doing their finals the first week, and the second week that we were there, everybody was off. Like we would all hang out.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking this first week I'm gonna hang out with the guy that I traveled here with because his brother's doing finals. My friend is doing finals. They're busy, so I'm thinking like him and I'll hang out.
Mm-hmm.
Now this is the part of the story that will be the hardest to believe, but I promise you I'm not making this up. This shit really happened. So we get there. All right. Now there's a time difference in Italy, obviously.
Is it like
So it's
6
like
hours?
6 hours,
Yeah.
yeah. And like everybody knows how to beat jet lag. Like if you have to, you just don't really sleep the first
Yeah,
night.
going there is easier.
Yeah,
You just stay
you
awake.
don't really sleep. You wake up the next morning. You drink enough espresso to get you through the day. You reset your clock. You're good to go. This
Yeah.
guy never did that, like at all. So
With a friend you were with?
yeah,
Or?
literally slept from like 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. He would wake up. We would go out to get dinner. We would go to bars and drink. He would come back. He watched NBA Live in bed until 7 a.m. when he finally fell asleep. And then he would sleep until 5. Like, I'm not lying. Dude, like, didn't leave the Airbnb while the sun was out, like, ever. Like, was always asleep in the Airbnb. We got tickets to the Uffizi. And while I was
What's
booking,
that?
it's an art museum over in
bet.
Florence. And
Okay.
while we're booking tickets to see the Uffizi, I said, hey, I'm going to go see the David because it's in a different museum. Do you want to come?
That's a statue?
Yeah, the statue of David. I said, I'm going to book tickets to that. Do you want me to order you one too? And we could go. He was like, no, like I think one art museum's good. Like I'm
No,
probably
I
fine.
think I want to I want to watch LeBron drain 35 points tonight.
Bro, seriously, bro, like we're in the city where they have the statue of David, and I was like, hey, bro, like I'm gonna go see the David. Do you want to come? He's like, nah, like, I'm going to the Uffizi. That's enough art. I should be good. I was like, what? I'm not lying. This is not a lie. So he literally slept from like 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. for the whole 2 weeks that he was there. Like never beat the jet lag. And if you asked him why,
You got to do it your first day.
if you asked him why, like he was sleeping all day, he'd be like, "This jet lag, man. Like I can't be." It was like, bro, beating jet lag is like got to be one of the easiest, not one of the easiest things, but it's not hard to do. It's not.
You got to
like,
do it right when you get there.
Yeah, beating the
If you
jet
fall
lag.
asleep on your first day, it's so much harder.
Yeah, beating the jet lag. It's like we all know it's coming. We got to do it. We do it. We're fine. He never did. So he slept from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. every day. He'd
Yeah.
wake up, we'd go to dinner, we'd go to the bar, we'd drink, we'd come back. It was watch NBA Live till 7 a.m. when he would fall asleep. Then he'd wake back up at 5, do the same thing next day. So him and I book a one-night Airbnb in Rome. We're going to go for like a day. And I wanted to see the Trevi and, go see the Colosseum. So I actually booked myself a tour through the Vatican. He didn't want to go because you cannot enter the Sistine Chapel if you are not wearing pants. And he did not bring a pair of pants when we went to Rome. He only brought shorts, so he would not have been allowed in the Sistine. So he decided that he was not going to tour the Vatican. So I wake up, we see the Trevi. We were there like 10 minutes. He's like, all right, yeah, I'm good. I'm hungry. I want to go get food. So I'm like, fuck, okay. So we leave the Trevi after 10 minutes to go get food.
10 minutes?
Yeah, it was like 10 minutes we were there. He was like, yeah, I'm ready to go eat. Like, I'm over it. Like, all right. So we go eat at this burger joint somewhere in Rome. And then, like, after he went back to the Airbnb, like, I caught a cab and went back to the Trevi because I wanted to, like, sit there for a little bit. It's the fucking Trevi. You know what I mean? Like, oh, it's gorgeous. And actually, when I went back that night, they were having a gay wedding in front of the Trevi, and they had the rainbow flag. I don't know if I'm like referring to that in the right way, but you know what I'm talking about. The
Yeah.
rainbow flag
Yeah.
was like lit up over the Trevi. So the Trevi was like lit by the rainbow flag. It was actually like really cool.
Yeah.
They were having like
Is it like white on the outside?
the Trevi.
I can't
It's like
picture
on the
what it
back
looks
of a
like.
building. So like the fountain is like whatever they used to make them, but it looked like so like it was like white marble or whatever, right? But it was like it looked like rainbow because there was like the rainbow flag like lit up, and they were having like the ceremony right in front of it. It was like really awesome. It was like such a cool thing to see. It was awesome.
Damn.
He was at the crib watching NBA Live. I was like observing this wedding at the Trevi.
He
which
texted
was,
me
like,
back,
awesome.
Iverson up 20 points.
Yeah, he was like, LeBron is throwing it down. I was like, they're throwing it down in front of the Trevi right now. Like, fuck that. Yeah. So the shit was like really cool. It was like a really cool experience. I had some lady that I didn't know take a video of me throwing coins into the Trevi because the person that I did know was like at the crib watching NBA Live. But it's, we're not going to harp on that. So the next day we wake up and I'm like about to leave to go to the Vatican. And like, dude, literally like 5 minutes before I walk out the door, he's like, oh yeah, like our reservation for the Airbnb ends at noon today. Like I wasn't going to be back by then. And he booked the Airbnb. I booked the trains. And so I had to like in 5 minutes pack all of the shit that I had taken to her, which wasn't a lot of stuff, but like I get like traveler's anxiety, like shit, I'm gonna forget something, I'm gonna leave something.
Yeah.
So I'm like trying to pack all of my stuff in 5 minutes so that I can go to my tour and be on time for the tour in the Vatican and like hopefully not leave anything in this Airbnb.
Yeah, you got to get good at carrying shit. Like, you
In a
got to
bag.
pack it right in the bag, know where it is when you have to pull it out
Yeah.
somewhere, and like...
So this is me like frantically 5 minutes before I leave for my tour, frantically like making sure that I have like everything I need
Yeah, just dumping
to
it
get
in.
back to Florence. Like, you know, so
Like,
I don't
I'll
leave
get it in the
anything.
hallway.
Yeah, exactly. So I make it by a miracle on time to my tour to the Vatican.
By yourself?
Yes, I go by myself. So
Where did he say he's going?
He was going to buy ties and shoes because he had just gotten a job. So he wanted to get like some Italian leather shoes. So he was going to go do that. And then he said that he wanted to go to the Colosseum. So I go to the Vatican. I get out of the Vatican. I stopped at this cafe with this really sweet waitress. I was drinking orange juice, I think. And she actually gave me a piece of chocolate cake for free. Like, I didn't order it. She just like showed up with chocolate cake. It was lit. So I took a picture with her. She was really sweet. And now I don't have Wi-Fi.
You
So
remember
what
her
I'm-
name?
No, I don't.
Was it Margarita?
It was probably like Maria or something. But it's probably Marie. And so I'm checking like the app that we're using to text while I'm at the cafe drinking this orange juice and eating this really good chocolate cake, and I like no messages from him. So I'm like, all right, cool. So then I hop a cab. I go see the Colosseum. Now the price to get
Did
in.
he go there? Because he said he was going to go there?
Let me get to that. So the price to get into the Colosseum is like 16 euros. Like not that bad in the
Yeah,
grand
it's
scheme
like
of things.
20
So
bucks.
I go into the Coliseum. I get one of those like headset tours, so you can like press the buttons when you go to certain places, and it like tells you all about it. And I'm in there taking pictures and all that other stuff. And so I leave the Coliseum. I'm out of time. I had to be back at the train station. My train left at 8 to get back to Florence. So
Right.
I get to the train station, and I get on the Wi-Fi. And the Wi-Fi on the train station is like really shoddy because there's so many people at the train station on the Wi-Fi. And I get a notification from the app. And all it says is, hey, bro, decided I was going to leave a little bit earlier, so I caught an earlier train. And I read it, and then I click it real quick, like, what the hell is he talking about? But the
He didn't
message...
say anything before then?
No.
He just said, hey, I'm already on the train home.
Hey, I'm tired. Like, I'm just going to hop a different train back. I'm going to leave earlier. So I click the notification.
And it was like, P.S. Iverson up 20 points. Still.
But the message never loads because the Wi-Fi is so slow. So the message never loads.
Oh, so you only saw the...
All I saw was the glimpse that said, hey, bro, I caught an earlier train. And I was like, what? So the message isn't loading. So now I'm like sitting in the train station, like, do I get on this train without him? Like thinking like, I don't really know what's going on. So I
Yeah, because you don't know if he like...
I have no clue.
Yeah.
So the train comes, I just get on the train. We're like, you know, like a stop or two outside of Florence, and this woman is coming down checking your ticket numbers for the train. This motherfucker changed my ticket to the earlier train, not his. So now I am riding as him on a train, and she's checking tickets. And she comes over and she's like, oh, like this isn't the name that's on the ticket. And I was like, listen, like I'm like, in all seriousness, my friend was with me. He changed to an earlier train earlier. Like, I think he changed the wrong ticket. Like, I don't know what to tell you. I'm so sorry. Like, I should have to get back to Florence. Like, that's where I'm staying. And she was like, technically I should like kick you off this train at the next stop, but like, I'm gonna let it slide so like you can get back to Florence. And I was like, oh my God, like, thank you. So he really changed the wrong fucking ticket. And I didn't have the confirmation number. I just had the ticket itself. Like, I couldn't figure out how to get the confirmation number on my phone. So I'm like showing her the ticket, which is probably...
You should have just asked her, hey, on the last train, did someone, when you checked their ticket, did they say, yeah, Iverson's still up 20 points?
Was somebody live tweeting NBA on the train back? Yeah. So, you know, she was kind enough. She let me stay on the train. So I get back to Florence. And there was like an American quote unquote bar like close to where we were staying, and they were having a wing night the night I got back. So I went there and I got like a
What's their version of American bars?
wing night, like like that. Like they were having a wing night, so you know. And I get there and I got this giant beer, like it was like a Heineken, it was real cheap, it was on special, and I got some wings. They weren't that good, but you know, it was whatever. And as I'm sitting there, I get a text from his brother, the guy who was sitting abroad. And he goes, He's like, bro, like, are you good? Are you safe? Like, I can't believe this motherfucker left you in Rome.
And
like,
his brother's back in Pittsburgh?
no, his brother's like back in Florence at the Airbnb, sleeping. And so I get this text and he's like, bro, like, are you okay? Like, text me as soon as you get back. I can't even believe this. Like, I want to make sure you're safe. Like, is everything okay? Are you all right? And I text him back and I was like, hey man, like I made it back. I'm all good. So at the time I wasn't going to go back to that Airbnb because my friend who had lived there for 4 years, who I was like, he gave me the keys to his apartment and he was staying with his girlfriend. So I kind of like had my own apartment over there for like the last, for like a week and a half. So I was just like hanging out there. So I, got these wings, drank a couple beers, then like went back up there and like I was fine. Then the next day, I link up with my boy who's studying abroad, who's brothers with the kid that left me in Rome. And we go to get a coffee and he sees me. He's like, Dad, he like, bro, hugs me. He's like, bro. He's like,
is the brother?
Yeah, he goes, bro, I don't even know what to say, bro.
And he's the one that was there all that time, right?
He had been studying abroad, so he has been there for 1 semester.
Yeah.
The friend whose apartment I was staying in, he had been living there for 4 years. So the brother of the kid that I traveled with had only been there for 1 semester. He was only studying abroad.
Right.
So him and I link up to go get breakfast. We go, get a coffee in the morning. And he's like, bro, I came back home last night. It had to be like 6. He goes, the lights are off. He's sleeping. I wake him up. I was like, yo, like, where's DJ? And he was like, oh, he's still in Rome. He goes, and I was like, what? Like, you left him there? He's like, and he's casual as shit. Like, yeah, like, he caught a later train. Like, he's still in Rome. He's like, bro. And I'm like, you left him in a city, in a foreign country. You just left. And he's like, yeah, like, it's good. He was like, I'm so sorry. He was like, I don't even know what to say, bro.
Oh,
like,
my God.
He was like, I was so glad you got back. I was worried about you. I was like, yeah, it all worked out. But that motherfucker changed the wrong ticket. And he started laughing. He was like, classic. It's so funny. But yeah, he left me in Rome to catch an earlier train because he was tired. Now here is where the Colosseum, this will really blow your mind. I'm not even shitting you when I say this. So I see him the next day. I'm kind of pissed because like, yeah, like, all right, you're tired, you want to go home early. But, like, in the grand scheme of things, like, who does that? Like, seriously, who leaves your homie in a city, in a foreign country you've never been to, just like, oh, I hope he sees my message. Like, bye, I'm out. Like, that's wild.
Iverson was up 20 points.
I mean, yeah, LeBron must have been really killing it. I don't know. But, so, him and I are talking, and I was like, hey, like, what did you do while you were in Rome? Like, I saw the Vatican, I went to the Colosseum. I'm curious to see what he did. He's like, oh, yeah, man, like, I bought 2 ties, a pair of shoes, and I went to the Coliseum. And I was like, oh, bro, that's sick. Like, I went to the Coliseum, too. Like, did you go inside? He was like, no. Like, I looked at it from outside, and I was like, cool, that's all I needed. And then I went to the train station. I was like, you didn't go into the Coliseum? He was like, no, like, I stood right outside of it. I looked at it. It was pretty cool. And then, like, I caught the train back. And I was like, what the fuck? Like,
no, you're right about the jet lag, too. So when we went to Germany for a study abroad, before we went, they were like, listen, there's going to be this gold room, they kept calling it, with these chairs, where 9 out of 10 people will fall asleep there. Because here's what happens every time you go on that trip. You fly there early in the morning from Pittsburgh's time. Like, early in the morning as in, like, 11, maybe. So, we got there, and it was maybe 5 in the morning in Germany, right? So
yeah.
They had stuff for us the entire day. Like, we got to maybe put our bags down and change and
but they had like a
for
schedule
15
for
minutes.
you to go through for the whole day.
Instantly, they brought us down to like downtown Augsburg, and they brought us on this walking tour. They probably walked us around for 30 minutes, and they were like, all right, we'll take a break in this room. And it was pretty much like their town hall.
Yeah.
But it was like a really nice room with these chairs, right?
Yeah.
So people start sitting down and falling asleep instantly. There's so many pictures of people just like mouths open. They go down in 30 seconds, right? So I got through that. I'm pretty good at staying awake too. Like, definitely have a harder time going to sleep than waking up.
No cocaine necessary. You got it.
I think I had maybe like a rock star or like a German rock star, whatever that.
So you did have some cocaine.
Maybe it was like a Luftwaffe. I think they call Rockstar Luftwaffe over there. I believe they called.
That's fucked up.
I believe they called cocaine blitzkrieg powder.
No,
Yo,
they actually
side
called
tangent,
it
you know what's crazy?
Pervitin. They called it Pervitin.
Wait, was that the stuff that
That's
during the
what they
blitzkrieg?
gave. Yeah,
no,
that's what
that
they
was
would-
meth.
No, it was called Pervitin. Pervitin was
was like
methamphetamine. So they were
Meth mixed with coke, right?
I don't it'd be like if they were like, here, take this, it's like a supplement, right? And
Yeah,
what the
yeah.
supplement was called was Pervitin. So they gave Pervitin, which was like you could buy this at like a pharmacy over there at the time. So they
Yeah,
were giving
yeah.
Pervitin to all the soldiers. But
Especially the tank
Pervitin
crews, yeah.
was composed of methamphetamine.
Meth,
So
yeah.
it was basically like they were like handing out meth to all the soldiers.
Yeah, that's how
which
they
is
invaded
why
France in a day.
yeah, that's why they were able to move so quickly, because you had this like army where the soldiers all geeked up off of meth who were just like ready to roll,
Got an
man.
army of
yeah.
Jesse Pinkmans.
Yeah, they were like on, man. That's why Blitzkrieg, that was like instrumental in Blitzkrieg. So like the idea behind Blitzkrieg was revolutionary, but some may argue that like wouldn't have been achievable if these soldiers weren't like pumped up off of Pervitin, which is,
Yeah.
I'm fairly certain, which is
And
what
a big,
it was called.
a big thing for it too was the lack of food and nutrition they had. It just suppressed their appetite too, so they were able to go through. So wait, anyway, we get to this room. People start falling asleep. I watched those same people for the next 2.5 weeks to see how well they adjusted. By far, when I looked around, all the people that were standing with me and chose not to sleep until it was time to sleep, like the next day, we were fine. The people
Yeah.
that chose to sleep for a few minutes, they had 4 days maybe. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
No,
Because
jet
as
lag is
soon as you
definitely a
give
real
into
thing.
it, your hormones start switching. Okay, it's sleep mode. You
Jet
know,
lag
and it's
is
hard to get
definitely
that.
a real thing, but like, who lets jet lag like keep them from experiencing Florence for 2 weeks? Like, that's what was so crazy about it. Was this
Right,
this
right,
dude was like,
yeah.
yeah, I'm kind of tired, so I took an earlier train. I'm gonna just leave you a rope. I was
You know
like,
what's-
bro, like for real. The most heinous thing I think of the whole trip was me saying, hey, like, you know, do you want to go see the David? And he was like, nah, like one art museum, that's like good enough for me. Like, bro, you're the David? Like, you walk in, oh my gosh, like, dude, going to see the David was like it was like surreal.
Yeah.
Like, cause you walk down this hallway, and in the hallway leading up to the David, you have all of these like chunks of marble that are like half carved. And they're like drafts of Michelangelo. So you have you're
Oh, they're real?
Yeah, like you're walking
Damn.
through like drafts that
That's
Michelangelo had started on like ginormous hunks of marble. And then like at the very end of the hall is
You get down to the main hunk,
yeah.
David himself.
Oh yeah. And bro,
What a hunk.
And then like
Package and all.
off to the side, there's a room where they have like works that were done, and I may be wrong, but from what I'm remembering off the rip, it was like works done by the guy who taught Michelangelo.
Yeah.
So like it was just like, oh, but it was like an amazing experience. Like walking
Oh,
through
yeah.
this museum was surreal. And I remember, yeah, I was like, hey bro, like you want to go see the David too? He was like, nah, bro, like one art museum, I should be good. Like I'm fine. I was like, what the heck
So
is
wait.
going on? Like.
Imagine being Michelangelo. You finally get to that final form, and you're doing the final touches. You accidentally just nick off his entire penis.
I was about to say the dick falls out.
You know what's funny about every picture I see of that statue? It's always tourists looking up, and their eye line is going straight towards
Straight
the dick.
for the dick, yeah.